Hello, everyone. Sorry about the technical difficulties if any of you were listening, but
Well, two of
welcome
them.
to the Cazwell and Barbeau show.
That's right,
How are
Barbeau.
y'all? How are you doing, Kaz?
Well, I got up 5 hours earlier than usual, so I got up at 9 today. So I think I'm getting back into the swing of things. And
Good.
I had a coffee and eggs with cheese. I'm sticking to keto, back into the swing, and I'm pretty good. I'm pretty good. I'm just hanging out here with Elvis, and really got nothing else to say.
Okay. Well, just quick sort of recap. I am Barbeau, and also you are Caswell, and this is our new show. On this new season, we are going to be breaking down season 4 of the Boulet Brothers Dragula.
Hmm.
And today we have a very, very special guest, Astrud Aurelia, who's going to join us in just a few minutes. So should we do a quick little recap as to what happened last week on episode 1?
Yeah, sure. I mean, last week was obviously the first episode of season 4, so that means that the cast were introduced to each other. The winner was Astrid, and Formeldahyde was exterminated. In a nutshell, that's what happened last week.
Yeah, and
So,
for those of you who have seen the show, we actually talked to Vermelda last week, so you could find that on our
mhm.
YouTube page. And just if you like our show, just don't forget to like and subscribe. So every week when we post a new show, you can be notified. We're going to try to have a guest every single week. So and it's going to be surprises. So you're going to have to tune in basically to find out what the heck we're doing.
Yeah, so leave us a comment if you like the show. Leave us a comment if you hate the show. Like and subscribe. I mean, you're already here
If you
anyway,
hate the show,
so
leave
what's
off.
the
If you
problem?
hate the show, just leave Astrid a comment. Just kidding.
Yeah. And if you make it to
um,
the end of the show, leave us a skull and crossbones in the commentary. How about that?
yeah. So I think that we should go ahead and just jump right in. Should we go ahead and bring Astrid on?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, let's do
Yeah.
it. Let's do it. I think she's joining. Ladies and gentlemen, here's Astrid.
Oh, hi.
Hi,
Should I be able to hear
Astrid.
myself? Hi. Should I be able to hear myself well through the app, or is it just kind of gonna be like?
No, you're going to hear yourself out of your own ears, and then
Okay,
you're going to hear
gotcha.
us.
From your own mouth. Yeah. Nice to meet you,
From your
Astrid.
own mouth.
Castle here.
There you go. There you go. We can hear you just fine. Just so you know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Great, great,
Um,
great, great, great.
so we
So we're
basically
starting
just
at
did
the
a
very
quick little.
beginning. So we're starting at the very beginning of the show. We kind of like just did a recap, Astrid, of what happened last week, and you were the winner, and Formaldehyde was exterminated. And
But
this
how about
week's
before we jump in, we just hear a tiny little bit about Astrid. Astrid, tell us a little bit about
oh yeah,
you.
Sure, sure. Just so you know, I have a little bit of like a throat problem right now, so I might sound a little bit froggy. I've been drinking lots of water and taking my Mucinex. So but if you
Isn't
hear
that
me a
kind of
bit
your
lower.
thing, sort of reptilian, lizard, froggy, thing?
Yeah, I'd say like
it works for
on
you. It works for you, baby.
on the tier list of like creatures, I'd say amphibians are generally a little bit lower for me. I'd say they're maybe like fifth on the list
Okay.
behind
Hey, at least they're on
reptiles.
the
But
list.
yeah, they're there. There's definitely some influence. It's like lizards are at the top, followed by like I don't know, maybe xenomorphs. um,
Yeah.
but yeah, amphibians are
Yes.
somewhere up there. Yeah, yeah. Frogs, I'd have to say, are probably one of my least favorite of the amphibians. I do love like a good salamander or like an axolotl or something. But
Yeah,
that's
they
Okay.
have to
neither
have a
here nor
tail.
there. um, yeah, so hi, I'm Astrid. I star of Boulet Brothers Dragula season 4. I am a musician. I am obviously a drag queen. I take a lot of inspiration from like creatures, and that's been a more recent thing that we can kind of talk about that later if you want to. But
Okay.
yeah, I'm kind of a punk rock weirdo person, and I got sent home second.
Okay, yeah.
Well, we'll get there too.
We'll get there. I actually, when I first met Astrud a few months ago, I can't really say where we met, but we met, and you were telling me about your musical background and all the stuff that you did. You know, all your reptilian porn that you like.
Yeah.
But one of the things that you mentioned. No, I was kidding. But one of the things that you did mention was that you had been named Astrud after Astrud Gilberto. And for some reason, I thought that your parents had actually named you that. And I was like, wow, that's really cool. But then I actually got an email from you today and I saw your boy name and I realized, oh, Astrud probably named herself. So is that accurate?
Okay. Yeah, it's my drag name. I mean, I just, in the drag world, a lot of times it's just easier to go by Astrud. I prefer having just one name that people call me because it becomes like a weird performative thing a lot of the time where somebody looks at me and is like, oh, Astrud, but what's your real name? Or they like try to call me by my like legal name to try and like prove a point, like, oh, I know who you really are, or something.
Like they know you, right?
Yeah,
right.
It's like, you don't fucking know me. Like if you met me as Marcus, I'm fine with you calling me Marcus. But if you met me as Astrud and then try and call me Marcus, it's like it feels like even my closest friends in drag, like known them for years, they still call me Astrud even out of drag. So if you go out of the way, your way to call me Marcus, it's just like, what are you trying to prove?
Well, it also but it also kind of shows. It also kind of shows like people that have actually. You can tell like, oh, like because like I'm the same way. Like my stage name is Barbeau, and I've gone by that name for years. My real name is Adrian. And there's a lot of people that call me Adrian because they've obviously known me for years by that name. But there's also people that call me Barbeau. And I can always know, like, oh, this person's calling me Barbeau. So I know around the time sort of when they met me and why they know me,
Exactly, yeah.
So whenever I meet a guy that we're gonna like probably go on a date or something, like let's say on Tinder, and like my last name is Cazwell and my first name is Luke. They're like, so what's your real name? I'm like, well, my government name is Luke Cazwell, and I'm like, they're like, well, I'm gonna call you Luke. I'm like, only my mother calls me Luke.
Yeah, literally. Like, what are you trying to prove? Like, you're not getting closer to me because you like it's like some special secret that I don't know.
But I think it's so genius that you took that name from Astrud Gilberto. So where does Aurelia come from?
Well, yeah. So the whole thing with my name, I was in school for jazz performance at the time when I started doing drag, and I'm a big fan of jazz. I'm also Brazilian, so I wanted a name that was both a reference to my Brazilian heritage and to my study in jazz. So Astrud seemed to kind of fit the bill. It also has there's a sort of like edge and dynamicism, like just to the way the name even sounds. Like it just sounds good to me. Like the phonetic element of like names is important to me. Also, this is another weird thing, but having a name that starts with an A is really great because if ever I am in an alphabetical list, I'm right at the top.
So true. So true, girl.
Unless you're doing Squid Games, bad idea.
True. I actually haven't seen the show.
Glass Bridge Challenge.
I think I have a Squid Game like thing on my little avatar right now. I think that's what that is. I haven't even seen the show, so sorry.
Okay. Sorry if I.
Oh, no.
I love your little avatar. It's really random. I've never seen that mask before, so it's cool. It's already pretty original for stereo.
Yeah, I'm just trying to fuck with things. But yeah, so Aurelia is actually the name my name actually is a reference to my legal name, Marcus. I was named after Marcus Aurelius, so Aurelia is the feminine version of Aurelius. Yeah, so
I love it. I love it.
It all makes sense now.
We're coming full
you guys
circle
ready to start
here
on episode 2?
Let's do it. Let's jump in.
All right, so well, this was a different beginning, right? Because they had the beach party, so it wasn't your typical like reference to a horror movie that watching to see some blood splattered. But I didn't even know who Nosferatu was until you told me. Like it was common knowledge. No, am I saying it right? Nosferatu.
Nosferatu.
I wrote it up. Twice. Okay. So Nosferatu Vampire Party, and which I thought was actually really cute. It was cute to see the Boulet brothers in bathing suits and like the whole.
Oh my God, that was
like,
so adorable.
And, like I was like, wow, like okay, they're reaching. So and
I just thought it was so cute just seeing them in, kind of boy bodies. I mean, they were cinched a little bit, but it was cute, and seeing like Israel and Andrew, running around just being really dumb and cute was really nice to see.
Yeah, I like seeing that the Boulets aren't afraid of their own bodies. I feel like that's kind of a common trope amongst, especially like queens that are from older generations, is they feel this like intrinsic need to pad and need to really alter their bodies to feel feminine. And I love that the Boulet brothers are really embrace that you don't need to do that, and they look great in those bathing.
I couldn't agree more. I mean, drag has become such a big, wide open thing now that it doesn't have to be just a female impersonation. It's just, look at your drag mother, Dahli. I mean, come on,
even me, I'm more interested in looking like a lizard these days than I am interested in looking like a lady. So,
which I love all the things you've been posting. Yeah,
so that was super cute. I really appreciated that. And then so they left us on kind of a cliffhanger, which we find out later, which we'll talk about later as far as the beginning. So as far as the intro, so y'all enter the workroom together and gather around that coffin table, which I'm still in love with. So of course, can we just talk from the beginning? Of course, Mary is stirring the pot, which is a talent of hers, and she does on a regular basis. And she starts to bring up like your outfit falling apart, which I didn't catch on to at all when I saw your brilliant performance on episode 1. What exactly was falling apart? Was it the tail falling off, or?
No. So all the tubes that are attached to the it's like motocross armor. I couldn't find a good way to attach them without them sort of like falling off. Also, I used a combination of different adhesives, and when I drove to LA from Phoenix, the whole thing melted in my car. So I was actually staying up the night before the first episode, like a crazy person trying to glue everything back together and put the look back together. So it was a very, very last minute, like nightmare situation that happened. But I think Mary, love her to death, but I think she was a little bit upset that her look wasn't more well received on the runway. So she was venting some of her frustration that she noticed, my look, I was gluing things on last minute. But like I said, in the boudoir, like drag is DIY for a lot of us. And it doesn't matter what happens seconds before we walk on stage. It doesn't matter what happens seconds after we walk on stage. The fact of the matter is, when I was on stage and the cameras were on me, it was fine. Nothing was falling off.
Right.
I was horribly afraid something was going to. I was like, I'm going to fall. So one of these tubes is going to pop. Something's going to happen, and I'm going to, be in the bottom because of it. But miraculously, it didn't. And at the end of the day, that's what matters.
And thank God. Thank God, the performance is everything.
And that's
you rocked it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and even
exactly.
at the highest level of costuming and design, like shit goes wrong and shit is last minute. Like that's just the reality.
Exactly. And if something goes wrong, you move through it and you keep performing. You just keep performing and you do what you do, because at the end of the day, that's what they want to see. They want to see your performance. And if you move through it and no one ever knows, then no one ever knew.
What were you going to say, Cazwell?
Oh my God.
No.
I was gonna say that I felt that it was really interesting. I mean, maybe it was just based on the edit that so people were coming for you based on your outfit falling apart when you were putting it together, or how at least the difficulty you had before you went on the stage show. But no one seemed to read Mary in her outfit, and it seems like typically in every season when someone wears something so a little bit more store-bought. I mean, I in terms of the competition, I didn't think that Mary's outfit worked as well, even though I liked it possibly for other things. Did you feel the same way, or were people coming for her Stay Puft Marshmallow Man look?
Well, I will say, like, my frustration more wasn't the look, but it was more like, I made that the whole thing myself, and Mary didn't sew a single stitch on hers. So it was
right.
Like, and they cut out my
Good
rebuttal,
point.
which was, well, Mary, if your look had been falling apart, if something went wrong, would you have had the skills that you needed to put that thing back together? Because I think that the fact that my look was falling apart was more of a testament to my skills, that I was able to make it happen last second, like I said. So but that being said, I thought Mary's marshmallow look was fucking hilarious and brilliant, and it was a really, really creative take. I was surprised generally to that first challenge with the choices that people made for their horror icons. That was if there was one criticism that I had for a lot of people, it was like, when I was thinking about choosing a character, I was thinking about a character that I feel like has redefined the horror genre, a character that has like really influenced the genre as a whole over many, many, many years and has sort of a lasting influence. So for me, like when me and Mary talked about it, separately, it was like, oh yeah, your look was really cool. Is the Stay Puft Marshmallow a horror icon? I don't know. I mean, not that my opinion on that matters, obviously, but that was my question: is the Stay Puft Marshmallow a horror icon? Is it an iconic character? Yes. Has it been iconic in the pantheon of horror? Personally, I don't think so. So we got into it a little bit over that at times. But that being said, it was an amazing look, and I thought it was fucking hilarious. And seeing her shuffle around in it and try and navigate through the theater was really funny. But yeah, that's pretty much all I had to say on Mary's look.
Well, I totally agree with you. I mean, I do think that that her character is definitely an icon. I just does it really fit, like you said, in the realm of what you were trying to do. I mean, it wasn't like Cazwell said, it wasn't a bad outfit. It just looked a little like somebody made it for her, and I don't know. It just thinking out of the box and sort of reinterpreting it. It just wasn't. I feel like it wasn't enough, but.
And
it was hard. It really was.
It's a hard challenge for somebody who isn't like a big horror fan. And obviously, like one of the main three like tenets of Dragula is like obviously horror. Most people think of it as a horror themed TV show, but there's a lot more to Dragula than just horror. And they try to have people on the show that aren't like pure horror queens. And I think Mary is an example of that. So I think Mary's did a really good job of finding a character that was within the general like vibe that works for her brand and what she wants to show. So I think it was a smart choice for her.
Right. So what's going on with you and Hoso?
We're fucking.
Okay, that's the room. Is it true?
Oh, of course. I mean, come on. She's beautiful. She's adorable. We really, really get along. Hoso and I really bonded on the show. We've been following each other online for a long time, and we had we conversed here and there, but I didn't expect, like, I obviously had a little bit of a crush on her, and then I showed up to the show and was like, okay, competition, not worried about that, like, but then the feelings were mutual and it just kind of sparked immediately, and so we got along very, very well. And it's been nice getting to travel a little bit with her and perform with her recently, and eat her ass in the hotel rooms and.
Oh my God, Astrud!
I'm kidding. I can't eat ass. My tongue is tiny. It doesn't work.
Okay.
I'm the worst top ever.
So the other thing that was brought up during these conversations that I thought was interesting was that Coco, because when Coco was making her outfit, she referred to she said that she was doing Morticia and then it was Elvira. So I was like, wait, are these interchangeable to her? But I was like, well, maybe she just got the name wrong. So I don't know if you had any opinion on that.
I think at the end she just had a word slip. I really do.
Yeah, I don't know what
she just slipped.
I don't know what was going on in Coco's head though. I do know that she had like 6 or 7 options for who she might have done for that challenge. Yeah, I know she had a lot of options in her head of who she was thinking about doing. And so maybe because her brain was like all over the place with these different characters that she was thinking about, that, maybe she was like, oh shit, she said Elvira when she meant Morticia. And, I think those are actually 2 characters. Yeah, I think those are 2 characters that are pretty easy to get mixed up. Honestly, like if you aren't if you haven't been around to witness their kind of presence in pop culture, me and Coco are both pretty young, so neither of us grew up with those characters. I think we can probably say for sure.
Right. So
that makes sense.
La Zavaleta enters the workroom, and speaking of Coco, you could hear her eyes roll when she walked in, and so like she. I don't really. I want to be fair and choose the right words to choose La Zavaleta, but is she really that extra? Or is it? Do you think it's just for the cameras? Is she like really this like angry and hateful for the most part?
It's so funny seeing like the way that people are reacting to Zava now that the show is out. Even in the times that people were like angry at the way that she spoke to me on the first episode, like. There was a point in the first episode where she looked, when I was talking about my whole car trauma, and she looks at me and she says, oh, well, someone was a pussy for, and I kind of popped off. And when you're in that moment of cameras on you and somebody says something shady to you, and the whole room looks around and says, okay, what you gonna say, girl? How are you gonna react? The cameras are on you. How are you gonna react? So I popped off and was like, if you think I'm a pussy for having PTSD, then you can basically go fuck yourself. And I actually remember in the moment saying that, being like, oh, God, they're going to put that in there and it's going to make her look horrible. And I felt bad because, honestly, I think Zava was just trying to poke a little bit of fun at me. I don't think she was really trying to, like, come for my trauma, even though it was really serious and a very traumatic experience in that. And I harbored no ill will towards her. And I really don't think that she was trying to, like, make me look bad or anything like that. I think, it's a very strange environment being on a reality TV show with cutthroat queens. Another thing, that people don't realize is like a lot of the way that we understand how to react and to converse with each other is based off of our experience in nightlife. You kind of have to have a little bit of a tough skin. You kind of have to like let things go, let things slide. And people on the internet, don't understand that like we say shitty things to each other in passing all the time at the club. You gotta just let some of that stuff go. Like obviously there's a line to cross, and it's up to debate whether or not Zava has been crossing that line. But I've also knew Zava before this. Like I have worked with her in Brooklyn countless times. So it wasn't like she was coming for somebody that she didn't know. It's not like she was coming for somebody that she didn't have experience with. And I think actually a lot of us on the cast did know each other. So it's like, obviously we didn't know that we were going to be on we were cast together, but I think that Zava, is trying to a little bit give us good TV, which I mean, all of us are. Even me, who's like, I'm not creating like a fake persona. I am thinking about, though, it's like kind of like hosting a drag show. I'm on the microphone a lot when I'm performing. As a drag queen, I'm expected to host shows and sit up there on stage with another queen and banter, and while people sit at tables and listen to me talk. So I'm kind of experienced in like paying attention, saying something cute and witty while everybody's talking, and entertaining people, and that's part of what we are expected to do. So when the cameras are rolling and we're 11 drag queens now in a room, like we kind of like, we have to just throw shit out there and see what happens. And sometimes shit hits the fan. And if you've ever been to a real drag show, it's the exact same way, it'll be funny. And then some queen will throw out some joke that was maybe a little bit too offensive or over the line and it won't land. And it's like the audience goes, ooh, and then you go, oops, whatever, laugh it off and keep, you move on. We're not used to being on the same sort of environment, but where the one little joke that we say then gets immortalized on television. I don't think anybody should take any of it too seriously. I don't think anybody should take any of it to heart, and just like accept the fact that Zava is giving us incredible television. She's an amazing entertainer, and I fucking love her to death.
And I kind of got that impression. I actually watched, the episodes a couple times, to see if there was anything I missed. And there was, when you had said the thing about the PTSD, she said, "Oh my God, I'm sorry." And then she goes, "No, you know what? No, I'm not sorry." And then she says something else, trying to make you feel better. But I think she's realizing that, like, you could almost kind of see her like processing, like, how am I going to portray myself? Like you can kind of almost she's catching herself. So I almost kind of have a feeling that as the show progresses, if Zava stays, that we're going to see a different person as things kind of happen. So
I mean, you
It
know,
has
at this
to.
point,
We have
now
to.
now that I'm gone, like, you know, that's all I got to see. You know, the first two episodes are all I got
Yeah.
to see of,
Right.
you know,
Right.
I mean, I got to see everybody sort of like, you know, after, but and I kind of got to get like through like a little, like I heard things through the grapevine, obviously, and I got to see a lot of the looks for later episodes, sort of in their like destroyed, half done states. But I think that
Right.
Zava is gonna. I'm really excited to see, even like next episode. I'm really excited to see what Zava is gonna bring.
I mean, yeah, from what you know, from coming from the bottom on the first episode to where she brought herself to. I mean, we'll get to that now, but you know, she definitely. I was like, wow, good for you, girl. Like, I was loving what she served. But let's go ahead and move on, and we'll
It's
just talk
funny, yeah.
about
I think we have like inverse storylines a little bit. Me and Zava.
that.
So Dahli is back, and
Yes.
I am happy to see them. Like, so,
Me too.
what did you feel when Dahli? Were you expecting Dahli to come back after the Halloween episode, or was that in the back of your head at all? Or were people like,
It
oh,
was in the Yeah, it was in the back of my head. You know, I was just actually hoping that it would be the case because you know, Dahli obviously is going to be really tough competition, but mostly I was like, okay, here's somebody who I'm really close with and somebody that is going to be sort of a rock for me in this competition. Like, no matter who sends each
Yeah.
other home, if that ends up happening, which I expected it to, honestly, you know, we have each other and we support each other and we can bring out the best in each other's personalities. And, you know, that is what really matters. Like, at the end of the day, is that people remember us as, you know, loving, caring, I don't know, empathetic people.
Yeah. Yeah.
nice. But Dahli's your drag mother. Am I saying this correctly?
Yes. Dahli is my
Okay.
drag mother.
Okay. Okay. All right. Cool. So, but it was still like fairly a surprise to you when they showed up, or
Yeah, it was
did everyone
definitely,
else kind of gag?
it was definitely a gag. It was a huge gag. Coco specifically has a massive, massive boner for Dahli. So Coco was losing their mind, maybe a little bit more than I was. So
Yes, she does. Yes, she does.
So you guys go to the stage and you find out what the next challenge is about the Nosferatu vampire beach party. Do you guys because when I
For
first heard
vamps.
this, I thought you guys were like gonna have to go to the beach to do this. So I guess it must have been like, I don't know if you thought that too, but it was a pleasant surprise.
I kind of
that
did
you guys-
expect that, actually. I was really hoping we'd be on the beach.
Yeah, I was thinking that too, and I was. I mean,
Yeah.
we'll get into the stage performance later, but I didn't expect it to like turn out the way that it was. Not that I had a huge problem with it, but I thought that you guys were going to be on the beach. Do you guys? I'm just really. I don't know if you can answer this or not, but do you have an opportunity to ask questions about the challenge as far as because. I wasn't even sure. I was like, okay, does this mean? Because if it was me, I'm like, okay, does this mean I'm going to have two looks? Does this mean that we have to like, I have to match with my partner? Does this mean that?
So I'm not allowed to like talk about too many of those details.
Okay.
But I can say that like, there was a point where we were able to like sort of get hints, but they'd never tell us about any of like specific production details. Like they're not going to tell us about how things are being filmed. You know, they're not telling us how things are being necessarily judged all the time. So like, you know, in that moment where we all walked on stage and they said, okay, you guys are going to be judged as individuals. That truly was the first time we heard that when we walked on stage to be judged. So we had no idea.
And they might not have decided that until later. So who knows?
Yeah, it's possible. It's possible.
Yeah.
So
sure.
in order to choose to figure out who gets to choose the teams, can we talk about eating the garlic and the pig blood?
Oh my God, yeah.
So there's no vegans allowed on the show, apparently, right?
There
I don't
are.
see how that could.
Well, Sigourney was a vegan.
Sigourney and Mary. Mary kind of lost her veganism or her vegetarianism throughout the show.
Mary did lose it, yes.
She started out as one and ended up a blood whore.
All that spicy chicken, girl.
So did you throw up at all? And like, did you drink blood before? Do you have?
I didn't throw up, and I really wished that I would have, because I ended up having fucking blood and garlic stuck in my stomach for the rest of the day. And I wish I could have been able to just like, throw it all up and get it out. But I will say, the garlic was so much worse than the blood. Like,
really?
If you ever want to fuck yourself over, just go try it. Just go try eating a full, like, just take a bite out of one and just see what happens. Like, it is a different
kind of burns, right?
It's not even a spicy burn. It's like a burn, like a pain, and it literally hurts. It's crazy. There's nothing else like it. But I remember in the moment, like, I was using the blood to like try and wash down the garlic. It's so fucking dry. And I remember being like, so can we just like shell on, like take a bite out of this, or like can I like peel it and like and they're like, nope, just go for it. You can eat the whole thing, just shell and everything. I was like, okay, great. I remember like using the blood to try and wash down the garlic. I didn't have enough blood. I ran out of blood. I was like, yeah, server, can I get another one of these? Like, please, like, server. Because I did not. If I had more blood, I might have been able to eat it faster. And the taste of the garlic was so intense, I couldn't even taste the blood. It was just texture. But the texture was gross. It was like a smoothie texture of blood. It was nasty.
La Zavaleta drank that shit like it was Capri Sun.
Yeah.
And that seemed to have a problem at all. And so when she chose the teams, I thought that she was actually extremely fair and even worked in a lot of people's benefits. I thought that she could have done much. She could have been much shadier than she was. I thought she did a pretty good job.
I did actually think that my choice was a little bit shady. It seemed all fair and all equal. But there was a moment where I was like, oh, was that purposeful? Like the choice between me and Sigourney, because, obviously love Sigourney to death, but there's probably no queen on this season who's more different from me than Sigourney, if I'm being fully honest.
Yeah, but from an outside perspective, you two were a very, very strong team. I mean, you literally had just come off of a win. She was on the top. So like it was destined just to be a good team. It really should have worked really well.
Well, and honestly, I thought it did. And, we can get into a little bit of that later, but, there was things that happened that were, like, I was really trying to, because this, to me, it felt like Sigourney's challenge, It's like a high femme, beach, vintage, cunty, vampire party. Right. I'm like, oh, that is full Sigourney. Like this, there was no challenge this season that was as anti-Astrud as this one. So my whole goal was like, okay, I just got to be safe. I just got to make it through this challenge, and then I'll be fine. And obviously it didn't work out that way, and hindsight's 20/20. But
what makes you say that though? Just is it because it was like beachwear?
I hate vampires. I hate beachwear. I hate both. I like literally there was nothing I want to wear less in drag than a fucking bathing suit. Like there's nothing more humiliating and just like disgusting and ugly for me personally. Like I cannot tell you how much I hate seeing a queen in a leotard. And it's like, oh, okay, here's the challenge that I have to wear a fucking leotard. I like big silhouettes. I like high concept, crazy, huge shit. And I did not get to do that for this. And honestly, if I could go back, I mean, hindsight's 20/20, but I would have actually gone more of an interpretation like what Mary or Jade did, where they were like the creature from the Black Lagoon or some kind of like, because it wasn't strictly vampire. It was Nosferatu beach party. So it was supposed to be like vintage horror, like, all the old black and white films, like all those creatures and characters kind of having a big crazy party on the beach. I was surprised there weren't I could have done a werewolf. I could have done a some kind of creature from the Black Lagoon. Like there's a lot of things that I could have done, but I was really like kind of stupidly married to this this vintage Rudy Gernrich silhouette of the bathing suit that I wore, which nobody even knows unless they saw my Twitter post about it. And we can get into that later too. But yeah, this was not my challenge. And if I ever return for an all-star season, one of the things I'm really going to do is, okay, look at the challenges and be like, okay, this one is the one that I hate the most. let's focus the most on it.
Absolutely. And also just let yourself just think outside the box and let yourself just be open to whatever, if you're not feeling it, think of like, how can I feel it? What can I do to make, make myself really,
how can you make it work?
Stand up
and
to
I was focused too much on like the references and focused too much on, I don't know, like really sticking to the themes. I thought things were going to be judged more like on how well it applied directly to that theme. But I think, watching back, they just need a challenge theme as a general inspiration for you to do some crazy cool drag. And as long as the drag is really cool, the drag being cool is more important than it fitting the challenge, I think. So, and that's just my interpretation now. That's kind of how I feel about it now. I don't know if that's true or not, but that is the way that I feel. And I wish that I had realized that earlier.
It also seemed like you might have felt pressure to match with your partner Sigourney as well too, right? Because
that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, I could tell. I could tell there was
It sucks because also if you sort of look at when we finally get to the challenge, it seems like the partners, they worked really well together, but none of them really matched with anything,
Yeah, and if I had known the floor show was going to look like that, I would have got on stage, done all my gags, had my dress reveal, and I would have just I wouldn't even looked at Sigourney. I would have just the only thing that they really showed of us doing together was us making out, which was cute, but they showed it for 3 seconds or half a second,
Right.
But I would have focused a lot more on all those little stupid ideas that I had. I got an idea I was going to pull out a little hand mirror and I not have any lipstick on and then look in the mirror and go to apply my lipstick, but I can't see my reflection. So I'm just fucking it up. I was gonna have a big beach balloon that I was gonna fill with blood and pop it and have blood come out of the balloon, or a beach, beach ball. Yeah, I had ideas like that, lots of cute little stupid things like that would have made it. And just the reveal and everything. I mean, this was not the challenge that I was thinking I was supposed to do a high concept look, and whatever, it came to bite me in the ass. I can sit here and feel bad about it all day and beat myself up about it. But at the end of the day,
what's the point? You did what you could and you learned your lesson and you know what, next time you're gonna slay it.
Absolutely. And I got to show that amazing fucking xenomorph look that is probably gonna follow me forever. Which I'm fine with. I'm really, really proud of it. I'm really thankful that that was the first challenge, and I got to do that on my first episode of Dragula. I look back at the previous first episode challenges from past seasons, and I'm there's no way I would have done anything as cool as that xenomorph this season. It was the stars aligned, and it really allowed me to take that first episode.
Yeah, I agree.
So let's go into the looks.
So why don't we talk about who was paired with who?
Well, Zava is with Saints. Astrud, obviously, Sigourney. Coco and Mary are together. Jay Jolie and Bitter Betty and Dahli and Hoso, which seemed a really powerful combination from the beginning to me too. And it seemed like there was definitely some issues with Coco and Mary.
At first, I almost kind of thought that she didn't really want to be paired with Mary, but then I started feeling like she just maybe wasn't feeling the challenge and seemed a little bit more insecure about that. It was kind of hard to tell where the shade was coming from on Coco's part, but I think later we find out that she was having a bit of a challenge with the challenge. Because you could start to see Mary trying to pull more out of her, and Coco just seems a little bit flustered and lost, and
but she's trying to be a team player,
of course.
So she's trying to be a team player, but also I think that Mary made a good point as far as what her perspective was, because she did talk about how in the 50s she wouldn't have been invited to these parties. So I think that, so when she started talking about that, I'm like, oh, okay, well that her perspective will be really important and obviously different than the majority of like the white competitors. So it kind of like made sense to me, and I thought it was kind of like I like the direction that she.
Yeah, like if you go and watch like the old beach blanket bingo and stuff like that.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
It's all white people. It's all white people for sure.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's all
right.
celebrating whiteness in the 50s.
Yeah.
So then, before the floor show comes out, the Boulet Brothers come out, and before you get into looks, Barbeau, like I feel like half the budget goes to the Boulets outfits because they just look so
girl, those outfits were like, I gagged. I mean, like I don't even know what to say. It was like volcano gods or something. Like, wow.
Small detail too. The burping. The little like claws. Like they had these like articulated finger claws.
I love those.
Obsessed with those. I want those so bad.
I love those. They're so like, I was thinking like I need to get those for my DJ sets. I'm like, I wouldn't be able to do anything. But,
You look great while doing nothing.
Exactly. So basically, before the floor show starts, they announce who the judges are, and we've got Vanessa Hudgens and Gigi McGree. And so then the floor show begins, and we start off with the mini vignette of you guys at the beach. And so we basically, we get a really kind of pretty long edit of you guys just partying, and we get to have a really good look at everyone's costumes. We've got Saint and Zavala just giving us, just like these really amazing vampy moments. Like Zavala's kind of giving you like this like red sort of gypsy, kind of looks like a gypsy vamp or something. I really loved it. I thought it almost kind of had a touch of like chola in it, which I kind of love. Those eyebrows were very like, streets of LA. And Saint, which is giving you this gorgeous, like vampy PVC black latex, just
very high
gorgeous
fashion.
Very high fashion. That's what I love about Saint. Saint is like kind of this like really horror. He's got all these really amazing elements of horror and glam, but like it's always kind of got a touch of high fashion that I love.
She's definitely bringing that a lot this season. Yeah.
And then we've got Sigourney and you, and you guys. I thought that you guys looked really good together as a team. And I mean, even looking at it again, when I actually had a chance to look at Sigourney's outfit a little bit more, I did think like, I thought Sigourney was going to actually bring a lot more than she did. And her outfit was I think it was pretty safe to me, just kind of looking at it again, It
was. I agree.
But then, let's see. So then we've got, Hoso and Dahli, and like I said earlier today, like I felt like really like together the outfits were a disconnect, but as partners, I just thought they worked really well together, even though their looks were not very similar. And sort of seeing Dahli in this new light, just playing this super weird, creepy, like, I don't know, man. I just have to tell you that I was obsessed. I got goosebumps. I thought it was so funny. Too.
It's really great. Actually, I'm really happy that Dahli got to do that on the first episode, because that weirdo person is the Dahli that I know. That's my friend that I saw. I was like, oh my God, Dahli is actually being themselves and having fun and being a fucking goofball. Like, if you ever like see us in a dressing room together, it's an absolute nightmare. Like, we are just screaming and like just like making it like at the fucking show hell for everybody backstage, because we're just so atrocious and fun and silly.
Yeah.
And Dahli, I'm happy that they've evolved to a space where they're like have found a way to do, because they used to, back when their drag was a little bit more femme, they would fucking come out looking like insane and beautiful and crazy, and then do like
really
and then do like Eminem. or something. Like,
oh my
something
God.
totally out of pocket and hilarious and weird. But then on Dragula, it was always super, super, super serious, which I also love. So to see them like find a way to bring together like the fun, stupid shit that I know them for, and also like the really high level artistry that I know them for, and kind of smashed it together was just like such a breath of fresh air.
Yeah.
I'm just so proud.
Yeah. I mean, them just peeking over the surfboard, and then when they came out and were dancing, I was just like, oh my God, I was living. I think that I screamed out loud because I was clapping. You know, I'm like Kaz and I watched it together, so we're like, you know, just silly. But then we've got Hoso, and Hoso's giving us this, like, I think one of the judges says Rizzo meets Baywatch, which, you know, I agree. But with a monster element to it, and I just thought, you know, it's they, right? For
it's
Hoso?
she or they. It's she or they.
Okay.
It's not him though. Yeah.
Okay, so she was. I thought that she just looked really good, and there was something about their outfit that was a little.
Too. I appreciate that.
The reveal, yeah. But I just remember at one point thinking that their makeup is going to be something that we're going to start to see people really start to emulate. You know.
Yeah,
because it's so specific, and it's also something that we haven't seen. I haven't seen that, you know, and so I think that they're gonna start really influencing the way that the younger generation starts painting, almost kind of like how Trixie did, you know, how Trixie.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
yeah.
I mean, Hoso's a visionary. I mean, Hoso's also an amazing illustrator. I don't know if you've seen any of their like art that they just do like in their sketchbooks, but you know, they paint their face the way that they draw their character. So like,
I love it.
There's a certain level there. Like, even if people try to like emulate the makeup that Hoso does, like it's not going to be anywhere near what Hoso does, because it's just, there's a certain like signature, like this, the way she uses her hands, the way she strokes, the way she like physically, the physical painting techniques that are like very, very, very high level and difficult to pull off.
Well, I'm sure that also growing up in Korea, she had access to so much more there. You know, I mean, the anime and just that culture there, it's so much, I feel like it's so much bigger when it comes to art and when it comes to those kinds of things. So
it's interesting though, because oh, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but it's interesting because she has a lot of influences that are Western too. Like, you know, she's a massive Tim Burton fan. So I think when you look at Hoso's drag, it's a really eclectic, interesting combination of like Eastern and Western influences, right? Like, you know, for example, like the Other Mother that she did on the first episode, you know, she could have chosen an Eastern horror icon of some kind, but she chose to go with a very, very modern American, like Western character, which is really interesting.
Yeah, I agree.
I do wish that everyone had like individual time for a show. I did miss that element that usually is in the competition, because it was really hard to really get a good look of everyone's looks. And then, you know, some people were standing and some people were sitting. And I also thought that, and I don't know if you feel the same, is that you and Sigourney might have done, I don't know if you were placed that way, you choose the way you were placed, but that because you were both sitting in chairs, you might have felt like slightly limited in what you could do together. Or did you have any feelings about that?
We weren't actually sitting while we were performing, and I can't talk about that too much.
Okay.
But because that gets into like filming production details, but I will say that everybody had about the same amount of space to work with, so I don't think there was any like unfairness or anything like that as far as like our physical performance space that we were given.
Okay, so then we move on to Betty. Betty, you know, as far as her performance, I do feel that every time they showed her, she seemed to be almost trying to hide from the camera, you know, and I don't know. I feel like it was really a lost moment for Betty. I don't know if she just felt really insecure about what was going on. You know, I mean, it was really sort of hard to tell. But every time that I saw her, I just felt like I couldn't really see her face. I couldn't really see just what I really needed to see. And so I'm just really bummed that was a missed moment for Betty, because I almost kind of feel like this really could have been Betty's moment, because she kind of is this character. This is, you know, she is this challenge. And it's I just kind of feel like it was a missed moment.
I
Then we
just
move
think,
on to.
I do think. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No, please go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, okay, sure. I was gonna say, I just thought her look was a little bit like she actually had, and I told her this personally, so it's not too much shade, but she had my least favorite look, but mostly because of personal preference. Like I fucking hate pink houndstooth more than anything. Like, first of all, houndstooth is already a bold choice in the drag world. It's probably like the most like generic, like, oh my god, I'm a drag queen, I'm gonna wear houndstooth kind of thing that you can choose to do. But then to have like a neon pink houndstooth,
right? But it is very Bitter Betty. Yeah, I've seen her in a lot of houndstooth, and she works that look, and I think it works for her. I really do. That's why I was saying
it does. I feel like and the only reason I'm saying that. Yeah. The only reason I'm saying that is because I love her to death and we're really close, and I told her that personally. Like, I really just throw that out on some random, or not random, but on some podcast to have people. Did you hear what Astrud said about your houndstooth?
No, of course. And I know that you guys all love each other very much. You guys are all, when I was with you, you were all very, very good friends. So
yes.
And she might have appeared more insecure for this challenge, but a lot of it has to do with it being a group challenge. So as opposed to when you have your own spotlight on you and you kind of like have the pressure of doing the show, like you can't, a lot of people naturally like hide behind people when the opportunity is there, or they're afraid to look too competitive. But that's what the Boulet brothers apparently really want, is they want you to fight for that spotlight and to use it, which you're trying to find a balance when when it's a group challenge or you have a partner, right? That must be really stressful.
Well, and for me, like this specific challenge, like the way that I move my body is really bizarre. And like I think it was Vanessa Hudgens who were like, yeah, you like your movements were like really frantic. And I'm like, you obviously have not seen me perform, because that's kind of my gig. Like I am a manic, crazy person on stage. And it's like part of what I lay into that. Like I lay into the fact that I don't have like sexy femme, like, soft movements. I have erratic, deranged, sharp, jagged movements. So like you put me into a 50s beach party where I'm supposed to be doing these like classic dance moves, and I'm just totally out of my element, 100% out of my element. And I actually think that Dahli and Hosto had the best approach to the challenge, which is just like, we're gonna be these characters, and how would these characters interact at a beach party? Instead, I felt very much like I was not doing my drag on that stage. Like that was me trying to do somebody else's drag. And obviously I've already talked about this a little bit so far, but yeah, I mean, hindsight's 2020, but that's definitely a big part of it for me.
So we have Mary and Coco too, and it kind of goes back to what you just said, Kaz. Mary and Coco seemed like they were a little bit like they weren't really gelling together, and you could really, really see it on stage. Like you could there was a side eye coming from both of them. I
never would have known they were partners. I never would have known.
Yeah, I mean, the chemistry was just so off. And again, this conversation again of performance. I mean, performance is everything. And if you show the people you're performing for that you're having a bad moment, that's what they're going to tune into, unfortunately. Mm-hmm. And it was really unfortunate, because I feel like this also could have been a great moment for Mary, even though, later, they announced that she was safe. Because Mary did think outside the box, and it wasn't really a Nosferatu thing, but it worked. She was like this weird, mermaid under creature, like, I don't know. I'm not really quite sure exactly what she was, but it worked, It
was like an anglerfish, I think, like a deep sea,
Yeah, which I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
Me too.
I think the problem that a lot of them had, a lot of people had, which brought them to the bottom, or at least they were safe, is because the Boulets could tell that they were out of their element, and they didn't try hiding it. So they were saying that Mary had a really angry look on her face, and so they could just tell when Bitter Betty was uncomfortable. You really had to be good at acting for this challenge, because you really had to work your way through it.
Yeah.
We didn't talk about Jade's look. And
you did this last week too.
I did. I am so
what
terrible
is your
because I have no problem with Jade. I love Jade. Jade is like the sweetest person in the world, and I just realized, oh my God, why did I forget Jade again? But so Jade's look was basically like, it was actually very Nosferatu from the neck up. Like her face was super vamped out. I just think like from the neck down, I was a little like, okay, it's cute. It fits the theme, but I personally felt like it didn't really match the face.
So, I mean, I liked the leather jacket.
Am I wrong?
I mean, I don't think the issue was personally. I don't feel like the issue was the face. Like, I loved the leather jacket and I loved the swimsuit. I thought it was a weird combination to put those two things together. I think, honestly, if she had maybe drawn more attention, because she was trying to go for this like punk rocker at the beach sort of thing, which was cute.
Right.
But I think that the bathing suit was giving more like vintage, classic black and white. So if she had done even just maybe like, I mean, not that I'm obviously I am not the expert for this challenge, but maybe I would have done a more simple swimsuit underneath to kind of draw attention to the leather jacket. Just because I thought the white and black like print sort of clashed with the jacket a little bit, but that's just me.
Yeah, I mean, I just felt that like the swimsuit was just it was just a swimsuit, and
well, a lot of people were just wearing a swimsuit, and that was the weird thing about mine, is that I'm one of the only people who like, is as ugly as you want to think it was, like at least it was like something a little more than just a swimsuit. I don't know. So I don't know. I didn't get the chance to explain this on the show.
Yeah, you're right.
I made a Twitter post about this, but my look was inspired by Rudy Gernrich, who is this really kind of has gone under the radar but important part of fashion history in LA. He was an LA fashion designer in the 60s. He was a big part of the gay liberation movement. He invented the thong, and he invented this swimsuit it was a topless bathing suit just like that, and that had like full titties out. And it was so controversial for the time that the Pope banned it. Several European countries outlawed it. And the Soviet Union called it the death of American morality. Like, it was a really, really big controversy. And so it was sort of a little reference that I wanted to do, a little historical moment. And it was, I mean, his sometimes the shit is really ugly, but I was like, yeah, I'm going to look stupid. That was kind of the goal there. I wasn't trying to look like super high fashion like Saint, but it was a cool little historical reference. And sadly, my explanation didn't make it onto the show. But people are always going to wonder, why the hell is she wearing a diaper with a sling? But there was a reasoning behind it, and that was sort of my thought. I was like, I didn't want to just wear a fucking bathing suit, but maybe I should.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I get it. Yeah. And, well, okay, so I'll just keep moving on. So I'm so sorry, Jade, if you're listening. I'm not doing this on purpose because I love you. Is there anybody that we missed? Or we pretty much talk about everybody here? Astrud, Zava, Dahli, Coco, Hoso, Bear, Saint. Yeah, so we did. So then we get to the judging. Everybody's up there. And so then we've got basically, we've got the three people that are at the bottom, which are Astrud, Betty, and Coco. And then they announce that Coco is safe. Leaving Astrud and Betty up for extermination. Oh, but before I even get to that, they announced the winner is Saint for the black PVC latex vampy. What would you even call this look? I mean, just high fashion vamp. Oh
yeah, it's like it was pretty bat-like. It had like the little wings on the pool floaty. It was really cute.
Yeah, it was gorgeous. It was gorgeous. So we have Astrud left, Astrud and Betty up for extermination. And they announced to you that your extermination challenge is going to be basically submerging yourself underwater with leeches. Mm-hmm. So then we have the moment where you guys are basically led backstage. And this is where you have a little bit of a moment, Astrud. Do you want to tell us a little bit about
that? It actually.
I mean, sort of watching that. How was that for you? Just watching it again.
Really hard. Definitely really hard.
Yeah.
I can't really watch the episode without crying a little bit afterwards. If I'm being honest, like it's really hard to watch.
I could tell watching you when you were explaining. I think it was to Hoso and to Sigourney, and I could hear you talking. I could tell that you were having an anxiety moment.
Yeah.
And
I mean, I've been there, and it was like.
I will say that the edit was very kind. They didn't show a lot of the worst moments. I was like hyperventilating. My arms were trembling. Like I was losing my mind. And
I actually thought it was understandable, your reaction, especially after your win last week, and just how obvious your talent was. You exposed from the first week that when the second challenge comes and it's out of your element. It to me, I could understand how it could feel unfair. And just to jump in and say, I thought that was really, based on the edit, I know I wasn't there, like kind of insensitive how La Zavaleta was like talking to you, especially after the attitude that she pulled the week before. Do you know what I mean? So, I don't know. I could understand, I was sensitive to how you were feeling. I got it.
And also one of the things that I forgot to mention, I'm sorry, is that they actually just, once they had you guys on stage, they told you that you were going to be judged as individuals. Right. And you were going to be judged on 3 separate things and those were your original look and interpretation, the lip sync, and how you worked as teammates. And so they basically laid that on you on top of like after you did it all,
Right. Which I will say, my look was bad, like full T, but we did work well as a team, and
it seemed like
performed pretty well, So like I knew all my words. I was cute. They didn't show a lot of me. Probably because I was cute, but I'm not a bad performer. Like I actually consider myself, for a long time, I've considered myself more of a performer than a look queen. You might not think that based off of like my social media presence and my, especially that first morph look that I did. But I'm a crazy fucking performer, and I wish I could have seen more of the footage of like what I actually looked like up there, but. That's neither here nor there. I obviously was very upset that I was in the bottom, but I have a lot of anxiety. I have a lot of mental health issues that I have been working on for a long time. I have a lot of anxiety. I've been very depressed for a very, very long time. So people don't really know that like before I got on the show, when I got the call, I was like this close to quitting drag. I was really, really, really in a low spot, and it might have not been the best time for me to say yes, but I was afraid that, I'd never get the opportunity again. I wanted this for so long. I wasn't going to let that moment pass through my fingers. So, I already wasn't in a good place when I was on the show. I will say that. Not that that's an excuse, but hopefully it is a little bit of a context for what happened. And I started to feel the anxiety attack came on, and I was like, okay, if I'm going to get through this, if I'm going to make it to the next episode, I need to like show people my passion for why I want to be here. Right. So instead of taking those feelings, those anxieties, and trying to calm them like I normally do, I instead laid into them, and that was a huge mistake. It's something that I've never done before, and it was not the right time to try it because it basically threw me into a negative feedback loop and a full spiral. Because normally I'm able to talk myself off the ledge. Normally I'm able to be like, okay, it's fine. I breathe. I calm myself down. I find something to latch onto. I find somebody to talk to. I sit down. I like gather myself. Like that's what happened, when I had my like little moment of shock in the haunted house. I sat down. I focused. I said, push through, make it through. I'm going to be fine. It's okay. And within a few minutes, I was back on my feet. We were going through the haunted house again. And in the cauldron, I did the opposite thing, and it literally was an out-of-body experience. Like it was like someone else had come and taken over my body and was like speaking through me. It felt like I was fucking possessed. It was mortifying. And like I said, they cut out a lot of the worst things, and I am appreciative of that. But it's really embarrassing to watch, especially like Zava calling me unprofessional. It's embarrassing, and makes me insecure that like people who don't know me, who are going to watch the show, Like maybe it might look at me and go, oh, she's a fucking mess. She's unprofessional. Like we're not going to work with her.
Right.
Like, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
You know, it's a pressure cooker, and the show is designed to bring out like, you know, all of your greatest, you know, weaknesses as a person.
Of course, and you're purposely put into that situation for that. I mean, they're wanting to get that reaction from you, you know. So I think, you know, I mean, but I'm glad that they didn't, you know, that they didn't really, you know, show the worst, because I also think that it's really important that we pay attention to mental health issues, you know, because we all go through that shit, and you know, we're all suffering, and it's really important that we at least help each other, even if it's through television and stuff. And you know, I mean, this could even be your moment to just sort of clarify, like you're doing right now. This is what happened, and I don't feel proud of it. And you know, you make good of what, you know, you feel bad about. And I think that, you know, so.
Well, someone that deals. I'm sorry to cut you off.
No, go ahead.
Well, someone that like deals with anxiety too, I completely picked up on that in the beginning. Like I wasn't like, oh, this person's unprofessional or they're being an asshole or anything like that. As a matter of fact, I felt the opposite, and I that's why I just wanted to make a point to say that I thought that La Zavaleta was so insensitive to that, you know, not only because you're her, you know, a coworker and you're on the show together, but also because the week before she was having her own problems with being at the bottom, which seemed to be contributed by her anxiety, which she had talked about. So I thought that was like a really fucked up thing that it was happening when, you know, obviously, you know, the person that your co-competitor is going through this and they're at the bottom. You should be more comforting or understanding, or at the very least give them their space, which I could completely understand. That, you know, you're surrounded by all the competitors and the people with cameras, so you might not feel that you have the opportunity to step aside and breathe and focus on where you're at the moment. So I just want you, like, as a viewer, I didn't think that you were being like a snot or selfish or anything like that. I could tell that it was driven by anxiety and just trying to like dealing with all these emotions at once. You know?
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. That empathy means a lot. I mean, yeah, you know, another thing is like I had been putting off like really addressing my mental health in a serious way before the show, and that's another one of my biggest regrets. Is like, you know, I'm on some medication now. I have a therapist now. Like I've taken these like steps to like try and put myself into a better place. But you know, part of it's like, fuck, like if I had just, you know, I'm one of the medications I'm on now is called propranolol, and it's it's a high blood pressure medication, but it's also used to deal with high anxiety and specifically the physical reactions from an anxiety attack. So like the hyperventilation and like the shaking and like all of that stuff. And part of me is like, fuck, if I had just been on that medication that day, maybe I would have, you know, acted differently and I would have got to live on another day. Who knows?
Right.
But yeah, you know, again, hindsight 2020. I'm making those steps now, and I also don't think that I would have realized how important it was for me to address those things if I had not had that moment. You know, if I did not have that moment of like showing my hairy asshole on camera for the world to see. And you know, it's going to be hard. Like people are going to want to talk about it for the rest of my career probably, and you know, it's something that I just kind of want to like close the door on and shove in the closet and forget. But you know, it's something that I have to live with now. It's something that I have to embrace and own. So, you know, it is what it is. And I'm, you know, at the moment I was really taken back by how little sympathy the cast seemed to be giving me in the moment. I mean, what I will say, that was a hard day. That was a particularly hard day for all of us. So we were all wiped out. We were all exhausted. And, you know, it's just like, it is what it is. Everyone was feeling a lot of stuff that day. And, you know, I'm also thankful for like how I feel about my drag, like post that episode and post leaving the show, because it really showed me like the kind of drag that I need to be doing, like going forward. Like I said earlier, like I didn't feel like I was doing my own drag, and I kind of like took a second and stood back and like looked at all the looks that I've done sort of in my career and thought like, okay, what is it that I'm most proud of, and what is it that I really want to do moving forward? And I kind of looked at like my favorite looks, and it's all creature shit. It's all like full transformation creature monster things. So I'm like, And even like my xenomorph, like another one of my strongest looks, I was a fucking creature. And
Right.
I had to ask myself, why the hell am I ever getting on stage looking like anything but a lizard?
Right.
So I'm really thankful that I kind of like got to show the epitome of like the worst side of my drag that episode, and know that like I have sort of set a standard for myself of like the worst that I can do that second episode, and also like the best that I can do that first episode. I am more inspired right now than I ever have been with my art in years, since like even pre-pandemic. I was really not that excited about my own art, my own drag, and I was having a really hard time getting inspired. And now I am just like full of ideas. Like I have to stop myself every single day and like write something down because I got a new look idea or a new concept or something that I want to experiment with. And I've never felt that way in a really long time. So yeah.
I feel like you being on the show was a really important just move in your career, because look at where you were before, and then look what you went through, and look at where you are now. I mean, it's like there's so much growth happening, just even talking to you during that time that you and I were together, and then hearing about what you really wanted to do, and then now seeing how you're posting all these looks and you're doing all these things that you wanted to do. I mean, like your growth is, insane. So I think even though things didn't sort of pan out and happen the way that you wanted them to, I think that they happened for a very, very important reason. And so I'm glad that you're doing better. I'm glad that you're taking care of your mental health. And I'm really, really excited to see where your drag is going to go, because you are another creature that kind of like Hosa, where we don't get a lot of people doing this, and so, it's very cool what you're doing.
I think as artists, like, we need to fail. We need to crash and burn sometimes. And
absolutely,
it sucks that
that's a brilliant point. That is a brilliant point.
I think it sucks that the way I had to fail was the way that I did on the second episode of this TV show. But that's just like maybe it was for the better in the long run. And I need to embrace that. It sucks that like there's going to be people who online who always just look at me and be like, "Wow, Astrud's such a little bitch." Like, but
it's fine though. There's always those people. Those people always are there.
There's always going to be those people, and
you will have so many more opportunities, I promise you, to just shine a light on your talent as opposed to this.
Yeah.
I can think of like, other people that were on other competitive drag shows that had totally had huge fits and meltdowns, but at the end of the day, people just remember them for their talent. So there's opportunities you don't even know about that are going to come, that are going to be able to shine a light on that, I promise you. So I would try not to worry too much about this being your legacy.
Yeah, and I mean, you know what? I got my fucking iconic TV meltdown. I get the quotes. I get the copy pastas. I get the whatever. People are probably gonna put my screaming crazy voice in their lip syncs, and
you got your blood sucked out by leeches.
It was it's cute. I gotta embrace the fun and just laugh at myself, and it's fucking reality TV, and it's entertainment for people, and it's entertainment at my expense, but that's what I signed up for. So just gotta embrace it,
So we go to the end. So they have announced what you guys have to do with the leeches. And then we cut to you and Betty basically having to stick your arms in this aquarium of leeches. And the leeches basically go to town and just start feeding on you guys. I felt like they really, really loved the leech that was, eating up on Betty's cleavage, because we kept seeing that over and over.
That was cool.
And I mean, it did make for great TV, because I loved it. I mean, titties do nothing for me, but I'm here for that. Exactly. You should have. So we get that for a little bit, and then it just kind of fades out, and we cut back to the very first vignette from the beginning of the show, where it's the the Boulet Brothers on the beach for their midnight beach party, and
wait! I have
showed
questions. I have questions. So, like, how much blood did those leeches take out of you? Because they look like they were full after Thanksgiving. Like, they really got fat
Right?
off your blood. Like,
Did
you think you were gonna faint? Did it hurt?
It was a bit. I mean, it was definitely hard, especially with like my mental state, and that was one of the things that they didn't really show, and I'm happy for, was like how I was. I mean, imagine how I was freaking out before the extermination. Just imagine that energy continuing, and then me immediately after. As
you're having an anxiety attack, and it's like, and here's the leashes.
Yeah, exactly. Here you go. Hope this helps. Yeah. So my state immediately following the extermination was rough. It was a lot of adrenaline too. So I mean, it definitely, like, it was weird. Like, they're on you and you can't really feel them, and then you'll just get a little burst of pain as they take a big gulp of your blood. But
and then getting them off, what do you pull them off literally? I mean, are they still?
I didn't pull them off, but somebody else pulled them off. But yeah, they it definitely like takes a second. Like, you have to kind of like get a firm grasp around their mouth and sort of like, you don't really want to hurt them. You have to do it in a way that's gonna like get them to release their grip.
Oh my goodness!
And then I actually still have, like, I think little scars from where the.
Oh shit! Really?
Scars. Yeah, they make like star-shaped, like this like little star-shaped mark on your arm. Yeah, I've got one on my bicep where they were.
Pretty.
Two on my tricep. Yep.
I would tattoo that shit on there.
I actually thought about it. I got some pictures of them immediately after, of like the not immediately, the next day. I got some pictures of where they latched on, and I was thinking about getting them tattooed, but we'll see. I don't know how much I want to remind myself of the trauma yet.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give it a little bit more time.
Right. Yeah. Right. So then we cut to Miss Astrud on a rock, and it cuts to the very beginning where we first started with the Boulet Brothers at the beach, with the boys just seeing you off in the distance, and then you basically get the Boulet Brothers coming for you, and we see Drock pick up a rock, and that's the end of Astrud. They kill you.
It was a really fun scene to shoot, actually. Like, going to the beach, and like, I was very like, can I crab walk over these rocks? Like, can I, like, and I was in full heels, like, on these big ass rocks, and everyone was like, Astrud, like, don't hurt yourself. And it's like, it's okay, this is what I do. But yeah, it was really fun.
How fun. And so overall, I think it was a really fun episode. We're starting to see a bit more and from everyone, and I'm obsessed with this new season. I just, Tuesday rolls around and I'm like a little kid. Like, I can't wait to like start watching, like Saturday morning cartoons. I'm just like, oh my God, what time are we watching? Like, it's just, I'm obsessed. Yeah. So you're very lucky. You're very lucky to be part of this really great new thing. And, So tell us what's on your plans now. What are you doing? What are you planning?
Well, like I mentioned before with the music stuff, I am working on music right now. I'm really, really excited to release that. That's been one of my biggest goals. Like, when one of the reasons I actually started doing drag is because I was feeling like there weren't drag artists doing like a lot of music, at least, like, I hate to say it, like, it's kind of pretentious to say, but like at a high level, like, there aren't a lot of like actual musician drag queens who like play instruments and like do all of that.
You're not wrong.
And that's kind of how Dahli and I connected, was through our that's how we like kind of bonded, was through our like music backgrounds. So I have a new single that is going to be released when it is done. But it's all recorded.
Good
and
answer.
finished. I'm on the like sort of production, like mixing, mastering, like final touches part of it right now. But I have like, a bank of songs that I need to record and get out there. But I'm very excited. For a long time, part of my dream was like, like, I don't really give a fuck that much about being like a look queen or being a traditional drag queen. Like, I would like to use drag as a way to transition into like a full music career. I don't, I'm not sure anymore if that is like, I mean, that still would be awesome if it happened. I'm curious to see how people are going to react to my music, because it's very, very different sounding than, pretty much any drag queen music that's ever been released.
What kind of music is it?
So like, I'm really inspired by like, I don't know, like proggy shit and like space rock. I'm really into Radiohead. It's like my
Ooh.
favorite band of all time. I really love artists like Bjork and Saint Vincent, and I don't know. It's definitely like instrumental. Like there's a lot of guitar. There's a lot of like live drums and shit like that. I went to school for jazz, so I have like a big like also neo soul influence there with extended harmonies and cool chords. And I have a hard time describing my music when people ask me, because I don't write based on genre at all. I just write based off of like my nerdy interests in music. Like if you want to talk about music, I want to talk about like chord progressions and and like time signatures. Like I don't really want to talk about like genre at all, because that's, to me, like genre is the most uninteresting part about music. So like that's why I'm interested to see how people react to it, because it doesn't really like exist with any, like you're not going to hear it and be like, oh, that's like rock music, or maybe you will. Oh, that's punk music, or oh, that's a rap track or something. I don't know, you know what I mean? Like it kind of just exists as it is, and that's what I want it. That's how I want it to exist.
I'm interested in hearing it, so get it the fuck out. I want to hear
it. I know. Soon. I recorded the vocals last week and sent them over, so he's going to be finishing those up soon. I'm kind of a hell of a singer, and people don't realize that. And I'm kind of a hell of a guitar player, and people don't realize that. I'm a crazy musician. Like I said, like my background is in music first, not in drag. Like I have been playing in bands since I was 13. I was in a big local band called Hyperbella, which was like this crazy spacey neo soul band, wild music. Played all over like the biggest venues in Phoenix, and before I moved to New York. But it's gonna be really interesting, and I'm excited to see how people react to it. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, we're very excited to see what's coming next from you. So you got to keep us posted, and thank you so much for coming on the show. It's been such a pleasure and so exciting to hear your side of this episode. And also, let's see what's coming up for us this Saturday. I'm DJing at the Boulet Brothers Monsters Ball. Are you going to be there, Astrud?
I am not going to be there this time.
Okay. So if any of you all in LA, come and check that out. It's going to be Saturday night at the Globe Theater. Also Sunday night, my band Dirty Sanchez is reuniting, and we're performing live at the Globe Theater again.
I would love
for Psych Cells. Yeah, it's going to be really fun. We're really excited. What about you, Kaz? What you got going on?
Well, thanks for asking. I will be at High Tops on Saturday and Sunday, so both the night before Halloween and on Halloween, and Friday I'm DJing at Rocco's for a birthday party. But besides that, I'm going to be at home with the doors locked and the blinds drawn. What about you?
Astrud, what about you?
This weekend, is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
for Halloween.
Yeah. So I'll be in Milwaukee on the 31st with Hoso.
Amazing.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. We're at This Is It is the name of the bar. I think it's Trixie Mattel's bar. So it's going to be, I think it's like a party or something. It's going to be really, really cute. I'm very, very excited for it. And then on the 1st of November, I'll be in San Diego at Rich's. So that's going to be fun.
Oh, I love Rich's.
Oh, Rich's is a blast.
Yeah, I'm really excited.
Yeah,
for it.
It's old school. Yeah. It's been around forever.
Hell yeah.
Totally.
Rich's pretty amazing. Well, that's awesome.
Yeah, I'm thankful that I'm still getting a little bit of work and getting the chance to travel. And
you're gonna get a lot of work. Don't even sweat it. Don't even sweat it. And just you guys you'll be fine. So but anyway, so thank you for being on the show, and give send our regards to Hoso. I will. Tell her that we love her very much, and if she wants to be on the show, tell her to please reach out, because I don't know how to reach out to her.
I will let her know.
And, thank you so much, Astrud. It was really so nice to hear from you and talk to you.
Yes.
And did you want to say something before we closed out, Kaz?
Oh yeah. So if you made it to the end of the show, put a skull and crossbones in the comments section. Also, you can follow me at Cazwell Official on Instagram and on Twitter, and I guess my Facebook, but I don't really fuck with Facebook, but go ahead and follow me there too. And what about you, Barbeau?
You can follow me on Instagram at I am Barbeau, and then you can follow Astrud. Where, Astrud?
You can follow me at Astrud Aurelia. Okay, my name's very easy to spell. It's just ASTRUD AURELIA.
All right, guys. Well, thank you so much. Happy Halloween, everybody. And everybody
Happy
have a great day. We'll
Halloween.
be here next
Yeah.
week with a guest, and we'll see you then.
Thank you guys again so
All right,
much for having me. I really
bye.
appreciate it.
Bye. Kisses.